The coronavirus outbreak isn't just a global health concern, it's also been economically disruptive.
That's right. As we reported earlier, U.S. stocks plunged for the second day in a row. And over the last 4 trading sessions, U.S. stocks have lost a total of $2.1 trillion. Here to help us make sense of all of this is Charles Sachs. He's Director of Planning at the financial firm of Kaufman and Rossin in Miami. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
To shed some light, because a lot of people saw those numbers on the stock market go down, got very nervous. I'm not looking at my 401k today, that's for sure. But the coronavirus, we've been following it for a while. What do you think changed yesterday that rocked the markets like this?
So the market is always a mechanism looking for forward expectation for companies' earnings. And so the market typically sells first and asks questions later. And so when we see this, when we see the fact that containment isn't really working and it's continuing to spread, the market reacts. And this is what we've been seeing the last 2 days.
Okay, so what is your advice, especially for those who are watching the stock market closely? What do you do?
So first off, is don't panic. The market is really the only thing that's going to give you the growth that you're going to need for the long haul. So you need to stay in it. You don't need to be 100% in it. There arguably should be some mixture between stocks, bonds, alternatives, cash, etc. And so if you liked your what we call asset allocation a week ago, you should still like it today.
And definitely not a time to sell right now when those numbers went down. What can the government do to try to calm fears right now?
Well, and really the government is somewhat limited. They're looking at some things, and the Federal Reserve may make some changes, but people need to understand that when you're in the market, the trade-off for earning somewhere around 10% on average returns for being in the market is volatility. If you didn't have that volatility, it would be called a CD and you'd get 1 or 2%. And if you look back in time, markets were dropped about 7 to 8%. That's going to happen about every year. In fact, if you go back to 2018, there were 2 drops of at least 10%. Early on in January 2018, 10% drop, and towards the end of the year, if people have short memories, December, down around 20%. So this is nothing new. People need to be prepared for a bumpy ride.
Okay, so not every American's invested in the stock market. What is the average American who's not invested in the stock market going to be seeing financially when it comes to coronavirus and the impacts of the fear that it's causing?
Yeah, rightly so. The world has changed in that with the virus and as we look at various things, containment, etc. So right now is a perfect example here in Miami. Probably fewer people want to book vacations. Certainly people may not want to be going on as many cruises. Conventions, all the things that we thrive on in our local economy. From a business point of view, people are going to give that a second or third look.
Yeah, and we are so dependent on those industries that you mentioned. In fact, Jim DeFede did a report not long ago where the lobster fishermen who send their lobsters to China,
right.
And that has become such a big industry. They are being hurt by this. How much longer should we be looking at this, and what are you looking out for?
If you think about it, this is going to play out. Eventually, they're going to say there's no way you can quarantine the entire world. People are going to get out there and they're going to go about doing what they need to do. We know that there's some trials right now for a vaccine. We know that run through phase 1 and phase 2 takes about a year to be able to go. But this will, I think, we will just one of the many bumps we see along the way regarding that. As far as the lobsters go, I think that's a direct result of people not going out to eat at restaurants. But if you keep them locked up for long, they'll just order them. They'll be all delivered. We'll still eat lobster at home.
Okay, Charles, thank you very much.